One thing that I've typically done on presentations that I've given is I add some slide numbers in the bottom corner so that people can follow along, and it also helps me as a presenter keep track of things. Well, there's something new that Google has added, which is automatic slide numbers. It will add those slide numbers in for you with the click of a button, more or less. So I have a presentation up here with a few different slides in it. I have a couple title slides and I'll explain why in just a minute. When you have a presentation ready, you can go up to Insert and down to Slide Numbers. Now you have a couple of different options. First off, it's simply a toggle on or off. Now, once you have them on, you can choose to skip the title slides so those numbers don't show up on your title slides, or you can choose just to have the numbers applied on all the slides. For right now, I'm just going to apply it to everything. This is a little small, so I'm going to present it so you can see. So in the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to see the number. This is the first slide, so it has a 1. Second slide has a 2. Since I opted not to skip title slides, all of my slides are showing up with the associated number. Now it's important to note this is the slide number. It's not necessarily the number you want it to be. So what are your options with editing these? You can go in, and if you double click on the slide number, you'll see that it's really just a text box. And you can edit that as you would anything else. You can change the font if you want. You'll also notice that you can right click and do a lot of the same things that you would do with any text box, updated in your theme and so on and so forth. Now you'll note that I changed the font here, but if I go to the other slides, the font does not change. Another thing to note about slides is that slide numbers is that if you go in and edit them later, you need to turn them off before you do anything to them. So I'm going to go up into Insert Slide Numbers, and this time I'm going to turn them off, and they go away from my slides. So what did it mean to skip title slides? Does that mean it skips the numbers? How does that work? When you go into slide numbers and select to skip title slides, what that does is it skips any slide that has the layout of a title slide. And depending on how you've worked out your presentation, that might be more than one. Skipping the title slides, I'm going to present it again, means there's no number down here in the right hand corner. When I go to the next slide, which is not a title slide, you can see that the number shows up. Title slide, no number, and then it skips because again, this is the exact slide number. So maybe I wanted to skip and call this one 3, but those automatic slide numbers are going to give you that 4 right away, and you would have to go in and manually change that. And like you saw before, manually changing it doesn't necessarily mean all subsequent slides are going to change. So there is a little bit that you're going to have to do. It's not all done for you. However, it is a really helpful feature for people who are following along. One last thing I wanted to show you about slide numbers, and that is applying them to only certain slides. So maybe you have what you think is a title slide, but it's not in the title slide layout, and so the automatic numbers aren't skipping it. I'm going to go into Insert, and I'm going to turn them off again so that they go away. This time I'm going to select a handful of slides. I'm going to select this one, and this one. Now when I go into slide numbers and I turn them on, I'm going to keep not select skip title slides because I want it to show up. Now I'm going to choose, instead of the blue apply, I'm going to choose apply to selected. This means my slide numbers will only automatically happen on the slides I selected. So if we go up into our presentation view so you guys can see because they're tiny, I have my slide that I didn't select, has no number. A slide I did select does. Because I didn't skip title slides, this one still has a number. Not selected, so no number. And the last one I selected does have its number. So there's a few options, and like I said, there are some ways to customize it by going in and editing that by changing the font, the size, the color, and so on and so forth. But it's a pretty handy tool just to automatically add those numbers in for you. It's really great when you have huge presentations, even if you're just editing them, you can keep track of things along the way. So that is how you can add slide numbers to your Google Slide presentations.